Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog. If my voice is all fucked up, I apologize. If I can't talk the whole video or whatever, my voice goes out, I'm sorry. I'm kind of like on all kinds of shit at the moment, so you're just gonna have to like bear with me in this one. I want to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks because the Milwaukee Bucks are kind of in shambles. Things have gone downhill relatively fast for them. Obviously, they're currently the sixth seed in the East now, and they're actually at a point where it seems like that's where they're going to be. And their team is just like the Damian Lillard Giannis experiment. I feel has kind of failed. Um, I look at a guy like Bobby Portis, who he's been all right. He's a guy that I think is on an. I think that this is the last year of his deal, if I'm correct. I'm really not sure if he plans to come back. Yeah, he has a player option for next year worth $13 million. I don't know why. I just have a feeling he's not going to accept it. They're not the same team that they once were. But Brook Lopez is on an expiring deal. He's a guy there that probably won't come back. He's worth $23 million expiring. And Damian Lillard is now out indefinitely with a blood clot. Very freak thing to happen to the Bucks, especially with 10 games left in the season, and we're approaching playoff time. But I wanted to put something into everybody's mind here, and I know this is going to sound kind of crazy, but there's logic behind it. I see another Damian Lillard trade coming potentially this offseason. And the reason I say that is because Damian Lillard is under contract for this upcoming season. But then that following year, after this upcoming year, the season afterward is a veteran extension that is a player option. And while Damian Lillard is set to make $54 million this upcoming year, we all know he doesn't want to be in Milwaukee. Okay, his number one destination was Miami. And being that Miami now has Andrew Wiggins, they have Tyler Hero who's really made some serious strides. Bam Adebayo, who's still a really good player. They drafted Khalil Ware, who looks like he's a pretty good dude. I really wouldn't be surprised if we see some type of like 3-team deal this summer that just sends Damian Lillard someplace else. And the reason I say that is because it would open up a lot of flexibility for the Milwaukee Bucks. It would give them a chance to really reset their roster. They're a team that if they could find a way to get Damian Lillard off their books, they would have a whole lot of cap flexibility going into this offseason. And when you look at Bobby Portis, who's been suspended for 25 games for violating the league's anti-drug policy, I don't know if Bobby Portis, it depends. Like, is Bobby Portis worth $13 million? Maybe. I think he's a solid player. I think he's worth $13 million. I would argue to some teams he's probably worth a little bit more. I just feel like the Bucks need to do a hard reset. I feel like trading for Damian Lillard really kind of screwed up their team. They did trade Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma, which is a salary cap saving move long term. You get a younger player who is not as efficient as Chris Middleton, but he's younger. He can still come out and provide you, 14 to 15 points per game. And his contract gets cheaper over time instead of more expensive. And looking at the Milwaukee Bucks this year, they have a negative record against teams that are above 500. Their record's like 11-16 or 11-17, something like that. Same thing with the Knicks. The Knicks have almost an identical record against teams above 500 of 11-16 and 11-17. So it's just the idea the Bucks are in a situation where they have to find a way to make Giannis happy. And I don't really know how they can do that, but I have a feeling there's going to be some serious changes coming this offseason for the Milwaukee Bucks. Just their whole situation. They've been trying to get rid of Pat Connaughton. He's another guy with a player option, I think, for this upcoming year. I could be wrong, but I think he's a guy that they're going to try to move on from also in the offseason to get somebody else to take on his contract. The thing about the Bucks is if they let Brook Lopez walk, if Bobby Portis walks, and if they can get rid of Pat Connaughton and they trade Damian Lillard, like let's just say they trade Damian Lillard, they could go into free agency and make a run at a guy like Miles Turner at that point. They could make a run at maybe, not a point guard that's better than Damian Lillard, because I don't think that's going to exist. But they could make a run at another point guard and maybe just finally put, like, not a great team, but a solid team around Giannis again that can go out there and win a championship again. Because I'm just going to be honest, man, if the flip side of this whole thing is if Dame decides to leave, Giannis might want out too. The problem is trading for a guy like Damian Lillard is already hard. Trading for a guy like Giannis is going to be even harder. So I have a feeling that the Milwaukee Bucks will attempt to trade Damian Lillard this offseason. And just because, like, once this upcoming year is over, Damian Lillard is probably going to leave. He's more than likely going to find some way to get to Miami. That's where he wanted to go. A team that, and the problem is a lot of teams that would actually even want to get involved in a 3-team trade with the Bucks and the Heat on a trade like that, like the Knicks, for example. The Knicks are so close to the second apron and over the second apron that they really can't do a whole lot to get involved on this because the money has to be exact at that point. So I don't know, man. I don't really know what the Bucks' plan is going forward. But they're a team that I would not be surprised if they just try to offload a bunch of players this offseason to try and free up cap space to maybe try to rebuild that roster. Because at the end of the day, for them, their biggest priority always has been, and always will be keeping Giannis happy and compete. The way that Giannis remains happy is being able to compete for a championship. And while adding Damian Lillard did show that they were trying to do that, it just that duo has not worked out. And Giannis has also made improvements in his game. He's become one of the best mid-range scorers in basketball this season. His playmaking has gotten a lot better. That is one part of his game that's gotten significantly better, I feel, in the past couple of years. But they really need to try to find an answer. And I don't really know what the free agent class looks like this offseason, but it's possible that if they move some pieces, especially if they can move Damian Lillard, it's possible that the Milwaukee Bucks could put something together again that is at the very least more competitive than whatever the product they have out there is now. I get that Damian Lillard having the blood clot thing is a freak injury. It's not something you expect. But at the same time, you still need to try to keep Giannis happy. And yeah, trading Damian Lillard's probably not going to do that. But at the same time, this is a team with no cap space. It's a team that doesn't have much depth. A lot of the guys on their team are not as good as they used to be. Pat Connaughton being a perfect example. They also don't have a whole lot of athletic defenders. Like Gary Trent Jr. and Taurean Prince and guys like that are not going to go out there and do anything super, astonishing for you on defense. Taurean Prince is really just a vet minimum guy. Same thing with Gary Trent Jr., another guy who's like a vet minimum guy that went to Milwaukee to try to help. And so they've got a lot of soul searching to do this offseason, as well as the Pacers. They're another team that's going to have to figure out what direction they're going to go in this offseason with, trying to bring back Miles Turner and stuff. So, I don't know, man. We'll have to wait and see. But tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. Like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report. I'm out, motherfucker. Peace, guys.